Welcome, everyone, for another exciting episode of Cosmic Television Network. Today, we have special guest Chancellor Whitney and Executive Officer Bush. You may have seen Chancellor Whitney with me on Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia TV. We've done some amazing episodes. They got some of the highest ratings. So I'm really glad that it's been a while so I could get her on the webinar and talk about more about who she is and the mission of Omicron, of what she has established. And it's just amazing. And I think it's something that all of you have been writing in a lot of questions, and I needed to do this so you guys can meet the source, no pun intended, and ask these questions and get the information correctly so you can accelerate yourselves into a little bit more conscious activity and be more aware of what's available out there in training and things like this. Now, if you're interested in more shows like this, you can register at emerysmith.co and subscribe. And we do these webinars every Sunday. And we also, as you know, have the #1 show on Gaia TV called Cosmic Disclosure. Cameron will put a link to that here on, oh, there it is right there. And you guys can register through that, my ambassador program I have with them, and help us out and help support us. Now, we do mention things sometimes that have to do with health. So just a disclaimer, there's nothing that we have here to cure or treat any disease. You need to contact your medical doctor or director for that. We have to say these things so we don't get banned from the different types of platforms out there, which is understandable. Nothing we have is FDA approved or, triple blinded studied or anything like that. So this is just us, talking about different types of, health benefits. So that being said, make sure you register on the Cosmic Disclosure Alliance page, our Facebook page, and also register for Cosmic Television Network on your YouTube channel. These are great places for you to meet some really amazing, interesting people that follow Cosmic Disclosure and follow all the different updates that I have, which are very informative for those of you who are like me, who wants, absorb a lot more information of what's going on out there and be part of a family. Okay, you're not alone. Just because you can't convince your loved one or your dog that ETs exist is okay. Just move on to the next and just surround them with love. Not everyone is ready for disclosure. Not everyone is ready for the truth, and that's all right. So, with no further ado, we have Chancellor Whitney here. Let's put her on. There she is.
Hey.
Hi, Chancellor. How are you? And Executive Officer Bush, how are you guys doing this morning?
Doing great. Doing great.
I want to thank you for taking out the time to let the public know, and of course my followers, million strong here. There's a lot of questions. Everyone loved our episodes on Gaia TV, and there's lots of questions that come in since then. And I'm not the one to be asking, to answer those questions. And I've been waiting to get you on. We've been working to try to get you on. You and I have very busy schedules, and it's great that both of you were able to show up today. So welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, and hopefully I can answer everyone's questions.
Yeah, no problem. Well, first, let's do some introductions for a lot of people are going to be watching this down the road, and tell us a little bit about, it's hard to say a little bit, but tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's then go into, what is Omicron.
Sure. So I've had extraterrestrial experiences for most of my life. I've had normal jobs on top of that. I worked for the Department of Defense for about 15 years, doing special projects in the environmental division. And it was through one of those episodes that I met the Conclave that I do most of the introductions about. And They took me on a journey to see what the future was going to be. And during the course of that journey, they were revealing that Omicron Commonwealth needed to be brought forth and developed because it needs to be what they call the seed of the universe, which means that they were looking to change their future. And so had a chance to, see that vision. There's a lot of different interpretations that have gone along with that vision, but it did open a lot of doors for more exploration into contact with the greater cosmic community. So that's where I've been.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And really, thank you so much for your service as a Department of Defense person, because, I love having people on the show that have served. And I just want to say thank you for your service and all that you have done before all this and during all this. It's quite amazing. So what is Omicron?
Well, Omicron Commonwealth. So what's interesting is we didn't choose the name. Okay, that came in the vision. So it was meant to be a self-governing, autonomous nation of people that were awakened. That's exactly the word that they use. Those individuals that were enlightened enough to bring themselves into the greater cosmic communities, and learning that there's an expansion that has to occur. And so they showed us every bit of what the Omicron was going to do during that expansion process. So this has been very involved. Like I say, it's very busy because number one, this is something that making a nation for 200 years, there's a lot of people that apply to be nations or they switch over from another nation. That's different. But to start from scratch, we haven't done that for 200 years. So a lot went into this. And of course, we're trying to develop it so we mirror their platform so that as we move into the greater cosmic community, there's a smooth segue into the way in which they do business. And there's a good exchange of information that way.
And where do, because I know, where do people go to find you? What's the website? Can Cameron, you mind posting the website up there so people know and to get more information?
It's OmicronCommonwealth.com. We do have a full website up there and lots of tabs they can explore, anywhere from the teachings that we have. We're very consistent with what the rest of the cosmic communities believe. They believe in a universal source. Those are the teachings that we've always done. I've been doing teachings for 60 some odd years in the same realm of energy and the universal source. And that's very consistent with the way in which they believe. So if people want to take classes, I do teach a free class, usually once a month, that people can come into and hear some other teachings. There's different levels. There's very foundational levels, how energy works, the processes and language of energy. And then we go into, more advanced things of, the photon, proton transfer of energy throughout a body, different phases. So it just depends on what level they're at. But there's sections on there where we talk about the conclave. All the Gaia episodes are on there. So, we try to give them a good place to go and discover, who we are and what we do. And of course, if they want to be a member, they can fill out the application and send it to us. So
I remember you and Executive Officer Bush running an algorithm on me to find some. Am I allowed to talk about that? Or?
Yes, yeah, sure.
I didn't know it was class. I didn't know it was an Omicron classified thing. But this algorithm was really interesting, and I was really appreciative that you did that for me. And what is the algorithm you run and the numbers about? And what do they mean?
Yeah. So, everything is
yeah.
So when, you're created at an energetic level long before you become whatever avatar you're, exhibiting at the time. But that origination energy is called your cosmic identity. And every time you come into some place like planet Earth, then you get a galactic signature, which is very much like your cosmic identity. It's just based on that birth date. But your cosmic identity is really your basic energy that you were created under. It is the recipe of who you are. So your personality, your drivers, the way in which you, approach different experiences are all determined by that energy. And
Right.
as you move forward, you have experiences, you take something away from that experience, which then is an evolution to your growth. And that's reflected in your energies as you move forward. So everybody should know their cosmic identity. That's the way in which the greater cosmic community, civilizations see us, is by that energy, not by this outer shell.
Right. It's how to recognize. And
Right.
I think it's a brilliant way. Now, is that something they can go to your website and
Sure.
type it, or is that something you just want to? Yeah.
Yeah, they
You
can go.
got,
There's a tab
I
on.
mean,
There's a tab on there that says cosmic identity. They can go
Mhm.
in there. There's a button that they can push on so they can put their birth date in. It'll pop up and tell them what their cosmic identity is. And then if they go to the white buttons, whatever tribe they are, or right, that page, they can go and click on their tribe, look their tone up and their kin, and then it'll tell them everything they need to know about themselves.
So on January 28th, 1972, what was I? I forgot.
You're a son. I don't remember the tone. January 28th, 1972.
Yes, Executive Officer Bush. You actually ran it for me.
Solar sun. That's all right. Yellow
Right.
solar sun.
Right. So you belong to
Okay.
the yellow tribe. I'm a yellow tribe because I'm a yellow cosmic
Another
warrior.
tribe.
And so as a solar sun, then you would go look up the yellow sun,
Mhm.
and then it would explain to you about your energies. There's lots to learn. Like I say, you can find out what your functional drivers are. Those are drivers that are the base of your energy. They're the things.
Cameron, click on one. Sorry, Chancellor.
Sure, no.
Yellow sun. Yeah.
But what it does is it allows you to understand the way in which you really truly are going to act towards something. And because it is your energy, it is not some planet you're being influenced by planets. But the thing is that origination energy really is very much the way in which you operate. And so you'll have emotional drivers, you'll have what we call harmonizing drivers, different aspects of that energy that allow you to participate with things and be able to either be centered with it or outside the range of that. That's going to determine the density of your resonance. Okay. And that has everything to do with the energy that you are. So.
Absolutely. And I remember when you first introduced this to me, I was on the website running like my whole team. Which I was trying to find out, like you guys do, kind of there's no negativity at all. It was just all very positive. And I think it's great for people to go online and do this and check it out and, read up on it. It's fascinating science. And who developed that? Is that just something that you was downloaded from the
forever? It's been around forever. It's
Okay.
passed down, from generation to generation. Now we had a time where, somebody caught on with the Mayan calendar, and it mentions, having this galactic signature, and that kind of put them on track of it. But like I said, we knew about it way before then. When I was called a cosmic identity. So the symbols are different between the two, but the fundamental, base energy is pretty much consistent with that. And like I say, people need to know what that is. They read it. You can do astronomy, you can do astrology, you can do all those different things that are influences on your energy. But this is really telling you who your energy is and how it functions.
So basically what you're telling me is I'm basically the best.
I love you, Emery. Yes, you're the best.
I'm just kidding. I'm just playing. You know my dry humor.
Here's the funny thing. To be in balance, right, means that you have both denser and higher frequency energies, right?
You have to.
It's which side do you want to use, right? If you're somewhere in the middle, you're perfect. I'm
definitely blessed. So, okay, well, thank you for explaining that, because
Sure.
that would have been something when people go to the website and do this, they would be, emailing me more questions about it. So I just wanted to
Sure.
go over that because it's really fascinating.
Right.
Now,
Well, I get lots of
mhm.
emails from it, and I always answer them back, so I understand.
Yeah, I've been sending everyone that writes into me, or during other webinars, people mention you, and I say you need to go to the website and contact, Chancellor Whitney, because that's the best way to connect with them and get any pertinent questions answered. I know a lot of people I sent that they joined and they're very
Right.
happy and had a fantastic experience, I'll say. And it is about the experience and understanding you know what you went through, and the messages that you brought back were life-saving for the planet and for humanity. So let's start with that.
Sure.
For those of the people that haven't seen our episode, what, man, there's so much, it's like overwhelming. I'll just start with, like, what did you learn about the future when you were on the craft and you were approaching the planet there?
Well, so, like I say, you go into something. I wasn't expecting somebody, from another planet to be standing in front of me.
Right.
Saying, come with me. So, once we entered into that vision, I always have an open mind about everything, and I'm ready to explore those things, right? So that helped in being able to get into that frame of mind of what they were going to present. Like I say, you're suddenly in this expansive cosmos, right? Your entire perception changes. And so looking off in those vast distances, it's like, what do you want me to look at, right? But then you realize that the distance between things is nothing. In other words, one minute you're in this space and the next minute you're in another space. So as we came in and I could see the biosphere, like I say, when I initially saw it, I thought it was a planet because of the size of it. But what was funny is it had the Omicron seal on the outside of it. And so then I realized
I have to correct it. It's not a planet. This is more of a ship
right,
with a giant biosphere on it with the Omicron symbol on it.
Right. But like I say, when we were first coming into it, I thought it was a planet because, I didn't see the seal, number one, first, but just the sheer size of it. So once we got there and I realized it had this seal on it, and of course at that point, it had no meaning to me. But then we're interphased. So they're not going to see us, but we can see them. So it's like, energies, dimensions, one fitting on top of the other. It's that effect. So, once we get inside, they let me know there was about 1.9 million people living on the inside of this biosphere. That's a lot of people. Everybody had uniforms on that then sort of did a narrative to me of, what I was seeing. There were some fascinating things that happened. This is that all of this was during that 2009, 2010 time period. My grandson was not born until 2012, and Sarah's daughter wasn't born until 2015, and yet we saw them on this biosphere.
Oh my gosh.
Right. So they were pointed out. So that, there's that first moment of, oh my gosh, I'm looking at the future. Right. And, went through it. We saw the command center. We saw, their med bay, different areas of the ship. And the whole time they kept saying this has to exist. Well, my mind isn't exist for what, right? So then we left the ship and then we began to go towards the Draco constellation. And once we got there, there was this huge roiling black fiery thing in the sky. At that point I had no reference for what it was. And then Whitmore started telling me that this was very much, what was coming, that there was some alliance that had occurred between the serpents and the Dracos, and that they had built this planet-sized, and they didn't know how to classify it at that point, but that, they were calling it, the planet destroyer, that it was some type of antimatter weapons. They were still learning about what it was.
And obviously they were very concerned.
Very concerned, right?
And they knew that there was this inner fight going on between the Draco and reptilians,
right?
And they were kind of monitoring that.
They've been monitoring it all along, right?
Right.
And the concern is they were seeing the devastation of the destruction that was occurring. So what was happening is you could see debris from a lot of planets and things, and then ships would come out and pick all that debris up, process it. What they were saying is that this was something new that was happening. Earth lays in the path of that, and so they had concerns about that because this planet means a lot to them. They've been studying here for ages. And so, it's funny, you see something like that, you're trying to take it all in, what does this mean to me? Right. And so you always ask the question, well, why me? Right?
Yes. I mean, I get the people are always asking, why is it her? And what I explained is, and just to go back, because you and I have had private conversations off camera, that I know you zip through that base, but you were being downloaded the whole time, being taught, and all these amazing things. And I believe, just because I've met you and I'm really good with genetic energies, that you had that lineage that was able to process that amount of energy and information to bring back as the courier.
Right.
And become the architect here to help people understand that.
Right. And so it was interesting, like I say, once you ask that question, they go into number one, well, you're a gold energy. There again, okay, I understand that. I've known that all my life, but what does that mean to you? So that precursory trying to get a handle on, what am I looking at? How am I supposed to interpret this? And, one of the interesting things that came out of it is they said humans think outside the box. Okay. And that's something that, while they're very intelligent and they know a lot of different science and they have ways in which to figure things out, when it comes to problems like that, it really requires somebody that thinks outside the box. And so that was one of the things they said, is that, you have to do this because you will be the solution. And so we're still trying to discover what the solution is. Everything happens in its time and place. So as we move forward, we've seen more and more of that unpack itself so that we can, interpret it and look at it. But, I realized at some point you wrestle with these things, right? You come back, your mind is still reeling with everything you see. And you come back and you say, okay, just calm down, right? I believe that source will lead me to, whatever I need to know. There's that intelligent energy, right? And so then I began to understand. And, once I reached that understanding, then I was like, okay, I guess I'm committed to this. And so that's where we've been, is that here's the full commitment, and that's what it takes. And what it's done is it's really opened a lot of doors for us. We just picked up a new representative from the Federation. It's a gray. This is unheard of. His name's Zexua. We're trying to get to know him. And he's a little pushy with his energies. But the thing is that he's there to guide us and give us a different perspective. And so, we're going to look at it and take what we can get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I understand why there's many different forms of grays for the audience, but I do understand why they're pushing it, because they have concerns too.
Yes.
Because the success of the planet here determines, on that timeline, if they're going to be okay or not.
Right.
and it changes the entire universe. Everything that we do here, no matter how small or large it is, has an effect on not just this universe, but
Right.
multiple dimensions and realities and timelines. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Right.
And,
well, another thing that's really interesting about the Greys is that their future is very shadowy right now. Their lineage is not carrying forward, and so they're concerned about that. What's going to happen to them? And so having a representative that we can understand, why the way they think, why they do the things they do, it's about their survival. So I find it interesting to be able to deal with someone, that has that. We don't know anything about survival. I'm sorry. Unless it's right in front of our face and some disaster's occurring, then we think about survival. But literally every moment for them, they are thinking about their survival.
Yes. And when you said they were pushy, I understand that very well. They have kind of genetically weaned off their emotions.
Yes.
over time, and only kept a few of them for what they thought would be survival for their decision making.
Right.
Now they're coming back, looking at it and looking at us like, we are the golden child here,
Right.
the golden
Right.
children. And how do we get that back into our thought process and our astral etheric energy field?
Right.
So,
and our emotions are what allow us to think outside the box.
Right.
So, when you take that out of the picture, then you're going to miss certain things. You can be logical.
You read my mind. I'm like, you turning into Spock. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But when you get that logical, a lot of times you miss certain perspectives. And so, like I say, when we started talking about thinking outside the box, I was like, of course, our emotions drive us. So why would we not want to have that perspective?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's fantastic. And, I want to tell the audience, meeting with you and Executive Officer Bush, you have one of the most amazing telepathy, energies ever. And I really appreciate that. And that's how I knew that the connect I had with you and the amount of information going on during the interview, which was it was the easiest interview I ever did with anyone, because I already knew we read off each other.
Right.
It's fantastic, the upgrades you have, and you guys can learn all of that,
Yes.
through this organization. So I really would appreciate you guys getting a little more involved and checking it out. So remember you said you did the walkthrough. Let's take a pause through that. People are always asking, you did see a little bit of the medical. Is there anything you could share about your experience? Because that's a whole show.
Yes.
When
Yes.
you went through this, and I don't want to skip over some of the cool things that I found so fascinating. I mean, that I already knew, but it's so great to have that confirmation.
Right.
So what did you see, and what did they tell you about what they have?
Let's back up when, we even got to the vision. I mean, just the chair alone. So when they took me, he said, I'm going to touch you on the shoulder. Right. And we just transported to where he wanted to take me. Okay. Within the blink of an eye. I mean, 1 minute I'm in Washington, D.C. The next moment I'm who knows where. But the building that we were standing in front of was very innocuous. I would have gone and said, there's a standard government building, red brick and green glass. Right. But it was once we got inside, it was very different inside. And it was very much that, number one, it was very minimalist and sterile. Okay. I go a lot of places. We visit a lot of things. This was definitely a different atmosphere. And I was just in the lobby at that point. But once we got on what was supposed to be an elevator, I will say that it was more than an elevator, because I'm pretty sure that it wasn't floors that we traversed. So, but we came out, I walked down this long hall. The walls were all translucent glass, but they were interactive. There were, I could see formulas written on walls. I could see pictures from not only here, but other planets being shown on walls. There were languages scrolling across some of them. We walked down this long hall to a corner room. When I got in the room, there was just what looked like a lounge chair in the middle of the room, nothing else. And they said, just sit here. So I sat in this chair and it just kind of enveloped around me. Was very soothing and comforting. And then there was this sort of light piece that was adjusted over my head. And he said, all you have to do is relax. They showed me how to use, there was little finger control pads on the armrest, and so showed me how to use those. And then next thing I knew, we were in the cosmos. Okay. So that was the first, real piece of technology in this trip that I saw. I could hear them clearly. I could see things clearly. I mean, I was part of what was happening. It wasn't like a holographic picture. I was actually there. When we were on the Biosphere, I got to see a lot of the most fascinating thing. Yes, I love engineering. That was great. The med bay was great. But what I was fascinated with was their agriculture and farms on the Biosphere.
Oh my goodness, let's jump into that. And
My
here's
mind just went,
the childlike energy is coming out of you right now. I want to hear this amazement.
Yeah. And it was, you have to realize how big this thing is inside. I mean, so they use, a portal system in there. So there's no vehicles inside it. It's a portal system. You step on there. There's, I believe they said there were 30 levels on the interior of this thing. So we went from one level to another level within a matter of minutes. But you got to realize this is thousands of miles across. So it's not like, I'm going to walk over there. But we came in on this one level that half of it was done in agriculture. The other half was done in these farms. And so the first one we went into had calves in it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. For some reason, my mind would have never gone that Biosphere would have calves in it. And they said, well, humans have a particular mindset. So that was accommodating for the humans that were on board. But then that there's a dairy there. I mean, just lots of different farms, right? But the agriculture was very technologically forward thinking. Okay. They had lots of things hanging, such as tomatoes. There were trees. They had trees in there that were hanging from these systems, apple trees and peach trees and different things like that hung from these systems. So the trees looked sort of flat, but spread out, and they were on this wired system hanging. But I mean, and the produce on them was huge. I was like, wow, if only we could do that on Earth. Right. So that was one of the most fascinating things to me, was to be able to see the agriculture and the farms. Because agriculture, I could have said, oh, I can get there because they have to feed, the masses or whatever. I just, for some reason, never envisioned that farms would be on there. So that was an eye opener for me. You guys show pictures of it. You're pretty close. It's very modern. And they've figured out.
This is the Gaia artist rendition that they show, and I've never actually watched that. The art that they use, but yeah.
But we worked back and forth to be able to come up with something like that. So like I say, so that portion of it was very fascinating to me. The med bay was very fascinating. They have these beds that have this beam that sort of encloses and it does a scan of the body, and all of this goes up onto a screen, and they can tell you everything that's going on inside that body. But the thing that I found fascinating was, we talk about having amethyst mats, okay, but this entire bed, depending on what it's used for, has these plates. So they're very thin plates of crystals that get, they go and they code something in, and then this plate shifts onto the table. And depends on what they're going to use it for. So they showed me several versions. So there was an amethyst plate. There was a lapis plate. I mean, different plates came up on this thing. Very fascinating. And what it does is it changes the scanning that they're doing and gives them a different read. So I thought that was fascinating to see. I thought that it was fascinating. While I was there, someone came in with a broken arm. It instantly was fixed right there. He just put his arm in this tube, and this light came on, and bone fixed. So, like I say, fascinating things to see.
Yeah, the photons, I guess, I know you teach a lot about this, which is.
Yep, just the transfer of the energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that, like I say, those things were interesting to see. They showed me the recreation platform. So they're very much into sports. They have whole teams out in the cosmos.
Was there other kind of sports that we're not familiar with here on Earth?
Yeah, they did have some, one of the things I recognized, the baseball diamond out there, and the ski slopes. They had ski slopes, and they're fascinating stuff. But they play Exotal. And this is a game that looks like a 3D chessboard, sort of. It's got 3 levels, and you have warriors that are trying to make their way up the levels. Some of the little chessboard boxes have either advantages or something to trip them up. And then you have an opposing Exotal team. So there's 6 warriors that go against these. So the object is to get to the top. And it's brutal. I mean, they're knocking each other off of there, and, but I mean, that's their game. And you have to realize these players that play it are huge. We saw players on there that were, 11 to 13 feet tall. And even though humans had a team who looked, 6-footers, right? And they look half the size of this other team, yet they were engaged in playing. So I thought that was fascinating stuff.
Oh, that's fascinating. I would have so much fun there kicking their ass.
Yeah. I mean, I got mesmerized by it, because I was just like, wow, this is so fascinating.
That brings me to like a million other questions, but one of the things, since you mentioned the beings, what's that area, the Atrium, where you have the different types of all these beings you witnessed? I don't know what that's an area that they were able to commingle, and you were exposed to probably thousands of different species, maybe.
Yeah, so they do have this area where they it's the way in which they are orientating different species in. And so you go there, and yes, every species that is either on the biosphere itself, or they're coming in from the greater cosmic communities. They come there, they get integrated into the system. You're learning protocols and customs, and the different ways in which they're all telepathic. So that's a problem for a lot of humans that come in, because they're not. So I always tell this group every single time, I said, remember this: you may have had a fight with your significant other during the day, and you walk in there and you still put a smile on your face. They know you had that fight. Okay. You can't hide those energies. Okay. And so your telepathy is that way. It doesn't matter what you think you're thinking. They read exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah,
And
it's contaminated.
and
Your emotional energy could be
right,
misread, and I talk
yeah,
about that through experiences I had in the medical
right,
division working with extraterrestrials, and it's quite humbling.
right. Well, and you can't get away with anything. Your
Yeah,
deception is still your deception.
yeah. I love it. I can't wait till the entire planet here goes
Right,
telepathic, because communication is the reason for all wars, disagreements,
right,
arguments,
right,
and the clashing, just because we might not understand or the message. That's why I
right.
hate texting. I can't stand texting
Yeah,
because
you want to get yourself in trouble. And
that's
yeah,
me. Yeah, I'm a one word answer, and then it's discombobulated.
but they're not that way. And the thing is that a thought conveys more than words can. And so you're really
Yes.
getting the truth of what that message is. And that's the advantage to being telepathic. But you put a bunch of you put 10,000 different beings in a room, who are all doing telepathy. That's what I was telling these guys. It's like being in a room with a bunch of chickens, because it's just going on, and you get inundated.
It
Uh,
is. It
yeah,
is. It's not if you're not used to it, you're going to pick
right,
up on all conversations if you
right,
have if your field's open.
right,
But I like what you said, because when I teach telepathy, I teach that it's so fast that instead of talking to someone, say, hey, we're going to go to the park, we're
right,
going to have a picnic, we're going to bring our dogs, and we're going to meet so and so. That happens in 2/10 of a second, where
right,
you see the park, you already know where it is.
right,
You see the time when we're supposed to meet. We're bringing dogs. You know who's bringing what food instantly.
right. There
So what would
isn't a
that take a whole?
miscommunication.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
fast download, and it makes
right.
everything so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But like I say, you can get overwhelmed, uh, you
yeah,
know, and that's what I
yeah.
tried to, explain to people,
Mhm.
is that you have to, that's why your focus becomes so important, is to be able to focus on what it is you're trying to receive, not receive all of it and then get inundated with it. So,
Right, because you could be infected by another person's emotions easily, and
right,
that's
right.
that's what happens today. You walk into a room,
Yeah,
the whole family is very happy, and then someone comes home and they had a bad day, and that energy immediately.
right,
That's the start. That's the start of telepathy, through emotional
right.
communication. Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah. Yeah, so that, like I say, lots of different species we're going to be exposed to, and more coming forward, which is a good thing. It's about
Mhm.
trust. Uh, we were having a conversation the other day, and we were talking about Mutwa. No, probably about 2 months ago, had written something to me, his thoughts on us. Because he
Mhm.
keeps, I told him, I said, you have a little black book you're keeping on us. It's really a transparent board, but I tease him about that being his black book. But he looks at somebody, and via the energy evaluates who they are.
Mhm. So what
And
is his mission? Let's go back to him for a second. That mission is trying to, um, come here and collect where we're at right now, kind of information, and then guide you.
yeah, he's meant to be the representative. He's a Pleiadian. He's meant to be a representative,
Hmm.
that is helping us with the vision and making sure that we're moving down the path of what they interpreted the vision to be. And sometimes I have to go back and say, I think you interpreted it wrong, right? And then I will give them a
Hmm.
different perspective, and then they'll go, oh, okay, because now that, I'm getting downloads regularly, and I'm seeing more and more of it, I have a better feel for where we're supposed to be. So, it's now become a collaborative effort, rather than them just, before they were revealing the vision and trying to guide us.
Yeah.
But he really wants to get to know the energies, and it does come down to who do they trust, right?
Yeah.
They don't trust a lot of humans. They've had bad
Hmm.
experiences, and they say all the time, "It's not us, it's you." Uh, we make judgments, which is, that's not part of what they normally do. So they have a hard time understanding that. So working with him, like I say, he'll go along and like right now, he'll tell me so-and-so has a very high frequency. I think that we can begin to, integrate them in. Or so-and-so has a lot of work to do on themselves before we can do that. So they're being honest. And we too see the same thing. So that's always good to know where your people are at in the scheme of things. But, I have to laugh at him because he said, I waited for a moment to tell you how I really feel. Right. And we do telepathy. So I was like, okay, so I'm pretty sure I was getting that, right? But what he wanted to do was put it in a context in which we, tend to put things in context, which is write something and let the other person read it. And so he said, it isn't for the lack of trying over millions of years that we haven't tried to bring the humans closer to us. But he says humans, just by their very nature, resist that. And I thought that was interesting, that he could see that. And his end statement was, we don't know how to solve that problem. And that, that says it all. Right.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're still taking baby steps here on planet Earth.
Indeed.
And, it's all here, all the information, technology. It's just, we're not kind of ready for that just yet. Yeah. Can you talk about, you said the collaborative efforts, and, I'm not saying there's a good and a bad. Are you allowed to talk about the allies that we have, as far as a lot of people write in saying, well, are the Arcturians safe? Are the Pleiadians safe? And I think there's a misconception out there that one race looks one way. Like, we're humans. Look at how different we look,
Right. And let's talk about how many different Pleiadians there are. There's over 2,000, different types of Pleiadians. Same with Arcturians. So, just like here, are we all the same on this planet? We would like to think that basically we have the same concepts of what we think a human is. But do we act that way? Not at all. So they're very much in the same boat with that, so to speak, or spaceship, however you want to term it, because they do have, look at the distance between planets. We always say, they talk about their 7 main planets and the Pleiades as being inhabited civilizations. But those planets are so far apart, and some are more technologically advanced than others, right? So they're not going to be the same. Okay. So when people say, oh, well, my Pleiadian doesn't look like that or act like that, you're right. It's still a Pleiadian, and really they don't call themselves Pleiadians, just so we know. That's our terminology. But they very much have those independent civilizations just like we do. So you can't expect them to all act the same and to look the same. And there's Pleiadians I've seen that have red hair. Something that came from a lineage way back when everybody was, the Lyran Wars were going on and they were trying to, escape. So
yeah, those are the Irish Pleiadians.
There you go. Right. But the thing is that, yes. So if you say, well, I have a Nordic looking Pleiadian, well, you're correct. But then you also may have met this other one, right? And the same with Orions. Orions have been in contact. It's a huge empire. They've been in contact with so many other civilizations that there's a lot of differences in the way in which they look. So you just have to, be open to the fact that, they're just like here. Their lineage says everything about who they are, and they're going to have mixed lineages. So.
Chancellor Whitney, did they mention how many civilizations have been on planet Earth, and what number are we? Right. Or did they talk about the history to you?
Yeah, we've gone through lots of history. The whole time I was drawing on that was a lot of, I was trying to get to know them, what's their history? How does that impact us? Because we're not from here. People like to think that, we're the original species here. That is not true. But the thing is we want them to, be as open with us as we are with them. They see our wars. They call us barbarians. Okay.
Yeah.
We act like that. But, for them, they say we too had a period when we were barbarians. We've learned from that. So there's hope for us, right? But yeah, they very much are concerned with the way in which we will respond to them. And so this us having the ability to interact with them right now, we've built a good rapport, we've built a good relationship. We are not part of the Federation. I know people go out there and they say, oh, you joined the Federation. No, we have not. In fact, being the seed of the universe, which was part of the vision, says that we would not be part of the Federation. They would become part of us. So they want to make a change because they're not getting where they need to be. And you have to look at their history. They've had to change over and over again to try to accommodate all these civilizations coming in with different mindsets. They've had fractures amongst themselves. They have factions that go off and do their own thing. They've tried to be non-interventionist every step of the way, and it's not working. And so people complain about, other civilizations are complaining about that. It isn't one size fits all. And so, like I say, their intent is that at some point they believe that the Federation will wind up becoming part of the seed of the universe, which is Omicron, and that will be the uniting theme amongst the greater cosmic communities. So
that's fascinating. Yeah. What was that?
I said, boy, have I got my work cut out.
Yeah, I mean, you took on a huge responsibility, and I think that's why you were given this position. And I know there's many people out there like myself that have contact and instant contact and are working. Are they waiting for that, or because we have to shape up or kind of ship out?
Right.
And
right.
Is there a timeline? Like, people are saying, well, is there a timeline consciously, etherically with the planet, because we're destroying it, and ourselves to move amongst the stars?
Well, so, we have to remember that everything is cycles within cycles. So we're in a natural cycle right now. I keep talking about the Yuga cycle. We're in that natural cycle with the Earth right now. Okay. And so I have classes where I talk about, if you want to talk about multidimensional spaces, the Yuga cycle has everything to do with that. It is the splitting of the denser energies from higher aspect energies. So that we're on planet number 53 of this movement that happens anywhere from 24 to 26,000 years, right? So we're in that phase now, and it always does the same thing. There's a breakdown in the energies, right? You start getting chaos, and and it reaches an apex at where those energies do what it calls rending. In other words, the denser energies are separated from the higher energies. That's why we keep telling people, wake up, become enlightened, become a higher version of yourself, right? But the thing is that it's a natural cycle, but there's also other things that are occurring outside of that. So here we have whatever this roiling antimatter thing that's coming towards us, which is clearly, made. It isn't a natural thing. It's made to impact other civilizations. So there's an outside source, influencing something that's already occurring. So, not only are we dealing with the fact that there's a natural cycle occurring, we're going to be dealing with a cycle that's, man-made, for the lack of a better word. So it's just, like I say, we haven't seen the worst yet, because it has to reach that climactic point in order for it to be able to do what it's supposed to do. So,
well, since we're going that route, and since we're going to go that route, and it's okay to go that route for education purposes only. Getting back to the Dracos and reptilian conflict, we I both know the severity of that right now on planet Earth, and I don't talk about it often because I try to be really positive. But could we talk about right now this draconian and reptilian kind of conflict is here, and
Yes.
it's been here.
Yes.
It's been here, and they believe that they own Earth and the humans.
Yes.
And you've been severely attacked by them and
Yes.
your organization, and that's why you are a true light warrior.
Yeah.
And your team. What can we tell them about the conflict and what their intentions are and what their belief system is? And there's
Right.
two. We'll split it to draconians, reptilians, if you want.
Well, right. We need to throw the serpents in there now because that's who their ally is.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah.
So that complicates things because you have entities that have their own belief systems. Okay, they're willing to make allowances to have these alliances, right? So eventually what's going to happen is that's going to be a huge conflict when they finally get what they want, and then they decide, I don't need this other ally anymore. So we haven't seen the end of all of that.
Yeah, we know they're kind of screwing each other over. Oh, we're going to be friends for now.
Exactly.
So we can get rid of this one,
Right.
race. But then when they're gone, they already have their both plans to destroy each other.
Right, exactly. And they don't care who's standing in the way. And so this really becomes a bad thing. But like I say, so here you have draconians that through the course of their evolutions have determined that literally everything that exists belongs to them. That
Right.
Source created it for them. Right. That's, fortunately humans don't think that way. We're willing to, give a little bit on that end of it and say, well, the animals can live, the trees can live, but for them, it is literally everything belongs to them and they are free to do with it as they please. Okay. Then you have reptilians who way back when are sort of an offshoot of that. So they very much have the same mindset. But they also understand that a lot of times they're in servitude to the draconians. So that's a bartering tool for them. And they're not afraid to use it. But then you have the serpents who believe that they sit at the apex of all creation. And therefore, they're allowing these others to become allies with them until they no longer need it. So the sad part is where humans fit in the scheme of things, we are very low on the scale. Okay. We, for especially for draconians, we belong in the food category.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough intelligence, according to them, to be, it'd be like us talking to a cow, right?
Right.
Same.
Which a cat is a reptilian.
Yes. Right. But the sad part is that they're never going to get past thinking that, that they don't have the capacity to change that because it is part of their genetic makeup. So they're going to continue to move forward and we were never going to be able to scale up that with them. So that becomes a problem, and they are very much, they want to take over, the entire cosmos because it belongs to them. That's their, mindset. So how do you deal with that? Right.
Yeah. How are we dealing with this? Okay, now we're a source food product, yet they really don't need us.
Right.
We're kind of just, we're just property there that they can live with or without, possibly. However, there is a fight for the energy that we extrude.
Right. There's that looshing that has to occur. So looshing is the process of removing life force energy from a human. And that's, that's a natural thing for them. While we may have energy vampires, right? In other words, people that are lower energies trying to, suck off higher energies. That's a different way. But that's not looshing. No. Okay. Looshing is actually the physical removal of that life force energy. So there is a lot of that goes on. And we call that the negative alien agenda, or NAA, because that is a practice and they have softwares, for mind control that they put in place so that they get opportunities to loosh and everything. So draconians are very familiar with that. The reptoids learn that from the draconians. Okay. It's very much an art with them. And, we've seen it happen over and over again. I was telling Leslie not too long ago that Whitney had been abducted, and I do.
Who was abducted?
Whitney, my
Whitmore.
Palladian representing.
Your Palladian friend. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, he was abducted by Draconians. And I didn't hear from him, and I started getting concerned because that's not like him. I mean, he almost daily checks in with me. So I hadn't heard from him for like 2 weeks. And so I said to Zexua, I said, so where's Mukwa? And he said, they didn't inform you that he was abducted. And I was like, what? Right. And so, of course, I'm going to find out what's happening. And they said, well, he was abducted by Draconians. And of course, they're torturing him. Right. And I said, well, are you going to go save him? Right. Because that's the way my mind works. Why would you let that happen? Right. And they said, well, no, we're non-interventionist. We don't do things like that. Right. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, so I'm going to go save him though. I can't have this. This is something that I'm now connected to. Right. So put some things in motion and we were able to get him out. I started seeing though how much it affected him. And so then he came one day and, we sat down and had a talk, and I told him, I said, I teach this all the time. You have a traumatic experience. What do you want to take away from it? Right. That's the strength within you. And so we talked through, why he had that experience, how he could view that experience and everything. And, was able to take something away that was more positive. And, he seems to be on a better track now than where he was at. But I mean, nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. So.
Yeah, with psionics and, all that, they're very highly advanced compared to humans. And I teach this too about, their mind control is incredible. They could do one person, a whole city.
Yep.
It just depends on, the agenda that they have for that.
Right.
That military decision of what they're trying to accomplish for that.
Right. And you can't tell
universe.
The difference between reality and making. So that's the sad part about it.
Yeah. One of the questions here Kim Aston had here, it says, do they originate from different places, the three?
So Draconians are not from this universe. They come from outside, much further away. And the reptilians that they brought with them, which is the seeding for that class of reptilians. There are other reptilians that are good reptilians, don't get me wrong. But for the class that is in support with the Draconians, that is a seeded class that they brought with them. And they do all come from outside here. They have different belief system. Like I say, antimatter is something that they work with regularly. They don't believe like anybody else that's here in this civilization. So yes, they're very different.
And how many facilities do they have both in this dimension and interdimensional? We'll say inner Earth. Yeah. Pop culture term.
Here. I've heard. So they like to boast. Okay, that's about as good as you can come up with a word for it. And they will, if they're going to tell you, well, we own the Earth. So, of course, we're the dominant species here, which is not true. Okay, that's boasting on their part. They do have, I've heard, 1,500 different facilities here. Okay, and I believe that because we've seen evidence of that. But I'm more concerned with what's out in the cosmos. Okay. They started off, taking over whole planets. Now they're at the point where take over whole constellations. And now they're at the point, well, wait a minute, it's only the resources we want. So now that we're willing to destroy the whole constellation and just gather everything as the resource. So that becomes a real problem, is that evolution of how they see things. And
for the audience. Yeah, for the audience, I mean, because I already know, but we got to tell them what year in the future when they were downloading you about the threat. What year was that?
Right.
Compared to Earth years.
They told me that in 2027 we would begin to see where the draconians were starting to come this way. So we would have our first evidence of seeing something huge moving in this path. And so, then it becomes trying to figure out how fast it's moving. I mean, are they stopping and destroying constellations? I don't know, but that can't happen overnight, right?
And who are our allies? Who's the allies? Who saves us from this attack?
Well, that's what Omicron's for. That's what we're supposed to be
Okay.
for, is to think outside the box. I have that. I've been downloaded what that is from the future. But I don't talk about that because they can't know. Okay. But it's just funny is that, like I say, you look at these things and, we look at future. What is really future? Which timeline for which future? Right? Because that means that a set of things have to occur in order for that future to be on that path, right? Well, we all know that everything is influenced. So that means you're going to have multiple futures open, waiting to happen, right? So I look at it and I don't give people what that future is. What I tell them is that no matter which future it is, Omicron Commonwealth is there to handle that future. And they know that. So, do we look at allies? Well, this is funny because the way our membership is set up is that we told them, you come in, you become a citizen of Omicron Commonwealth. Everybody joins the military service corps because that's the government, and everybody has a voice. Okay. So we've mirrored how they do things. Okay. But the thing is that we want people to take ownership, right? How many people have ownership of America? Right? I own a piece of property, right? Well, yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Right. I mean, clearly, what do you really have?
You're going to have to take that up with the government and then the banking system. And then you're going to have to call the draconians and ask the draconians.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have to, they're going to ask the serpents. And then, my goodness.
Yeah. So where's your ownership? Right.
I say that jokingly, but it is a real timeline, and it's a real, I'll just say that kind of is the levels how this goes on forever.
Right. Exactly.
Of control. Yeah.
Exactly. And so, in setting this up, like I say, we realize that, number one, we have to have standardization and, consistency and the ability to run things, without having it, there's nothing worse than saying, let's have a vote and decide if this is the direction we're going to go. Right. Sometimes things don't work that way. Sometimes you have to make a decision in the moment. So this was a better way to set things up. People say, well, you're non-interventionist. No, what I've said is war fighting is not at the war front of everything. I would rather have an ally than an enemy. Okay. And if you go into that, and our doctrines are written that way, then hopefully people will begin to see that, wait a minute, we all have a common cause here. Okay. But I've told people, you want to threaten me? I'm a yellow cosmic warrior for a reason. I'm going to stand right up there. You can threaten me. I will handle it. And the thing is that that's the way it needs to be. They needs to know that there's strength behind the words, but that the way in which we do things is that we should be coming together, united, do what's best for all of us, not just for a few of us. And so this is really our message, is that have a voice, right? Right now, what's your voice in the American system?
Right.
Right. You can talk to yourself all you want. Who's listening? Okay. And so this is really the way we've done. And we have meetings all the time, and, we listen to what people have to say. And, if a change needs to occur, then we come together and collectively decide what that change is going to be and, move forward. It's always about, what's the betterment for the human race. And this is where people need to be. You're not asked that. I'm sorry, but I see what's happening around the world. And I'm going to tell you that the common human has no voice in any of that. So
right.
That's the sad part.
Yes. Well, I know, you and Officer Bush here have volunteered, as myself, to be at the forefront
Right.
and accept the energies. You know, when I see you guys, I don't see you guys, I see you guys.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
you know, and it's really great. And if people can understand that your voice, I'll say, we'll use voice as the etheric state of energy coming in, and we're pulling
Right.
massive amounts of positivity energy into us, and we can combat these negative energies easily.
Right.
And rescue our friends, and even heal miraculously
Right.
people, as we've done in the past.
Right.
And you know, this is something, one of the things is like, where or how do you guys pull in that energy? And because it's easy when you know already and you're 100% aware,
Right.
because you connect to that. Is there something we can tell them? Maybe, you know, I mean, of course they're going to have to learn and watch all your shows, but
Right. Right.
you know,
Well,
what
we
can
start
we
from the
say to them?
basics, right? We start from the
Mhm.
basics. Everything is energy, including you. Right. So that means that no matter, you know, what you're doing, you're moving, you're talking, you're breathing, those are all energies that you're interacting with. Okay.
Mhm.
Even solid items, a table or whatever, is an energy. So you're interacting with that energy. The thing is that you have to get people's mindset to that point where they realize, yes, let's start with the fact that everything is energy. Okay. And if you don't start there, then you don't realize what you're being influenced by, and how to control that. So energy's moving through you all the time. And it's just whether it's an energy, if it's a denser energy, it's going to try to take energy from you. If it's a higher energy, then of course it's going to push that denser energy away. So, you know, that's the simplest thing we tell most people, is that realize raising your vibration, your frequency, will get rid of those denser energies out of your field. Okay. We just had a class on morphogenic fields, and talking about all the data that's approaching that field, and you know how we view that data and how it affects us. And you know, like I say, it's a huge subject. And then you know, people go, okay, I have a morphogenic field. Well, yeah, you have many morphogenic fields. Every cell in your body has a and you know, so on and so forth. I mean, it's just you know, this exponential train of thought about morphogenic fields. But the thing is that we have to start someplace. And for the greater cosmic communities, any civilization that's out there understands that at the forefront of everything is energy. And so this is why they can do the things they do, is because they understand that you are just manipulating the resonance of that energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Rupert Sheldrake and the teachings. You know, I've studied this my whole life.
Right.
And the morphogenic field is easily accessible, you know, many different ways.
Yeah.
And
everybody's got them.
Everyone. And you are the morphogenic field.
Yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm talking to myself.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. In more ways than one. On which
Indeed.
On which plane? In which?
I don't want to lose the listeners, but you understand, and those who do understand that will go really far in this energetic morphogenic field. And it is a group collective of amazing light and love, and there is scientific, you know, backing this. There's science backing this up, right. And I think it's great that we're talking about it out loud, because we're putting that into the field.
Right. Well, and you know, we're getting down to the reality that people are manufacturing, you know, from their energy and what they know. And the thing is that it, you know, I tell people all the time, if you don't like the story that you created,
yes,
rewrite the story. Okay. It's that.
Hey, I'm just going to sit here like a ventriloquist. Okay. Then you just talk and you ask yourself the only question. Yeah. See, this is real telepathy, because
right.
He's already, it's hard for me to ask her questions because he's already talking about it when I'm thinking it, and then she says it. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, you're out of control. Okay. So
you have no idea.
So Officer Bush, what's your role with the group? I know you've been through a lot, and you are a active duty, right?
No, I work for the Department of Defense. So right now,
mhm. Yeah, go ahead. No, just explain.
Right now I do leadership and organization development for the Department of Defense.
Mm-hmm. And what's your scientific background? Let me brag about you.
Well, I have a mechanical engineering background, and then I did some engineering for the Department of Defense as well at the Naval Shipyards.
Right. And you were there, Victoria, at that shipyard, or
that's
no?
where we met.
Yeah, that's where you guys met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And where was that at?
But we were both working in the environmental department.
I mean, where? What location on the planet? In Washington?
Naval Shipyard.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Do you have a lot of military members on your team?
Or
DOD? I mean, DOD or whatever. I mean,
well, not so much DOD, but we do have military members. And in fact, it's interesting because they're from other countries. We have some from Brazil, Portugal. Let's see, where else? New Zealand. So other
and the Netherlands,
Netherlands, right?
Yep.
that have military experience and are currently serving, and so it's interesting that they come in and they bring a different perspective, and they're engaged in what we're doing. So interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's a lovely team.
It is. We're very much a family. The other day, before we went to Thanksgiving and everything, we had a class, and so they were sharing in class. And I usually send out a blessing, of what we're grateful for. And so then they were all sharing about, the fact that they were so thankful that they found this family who supported them and loved them. And, so that's important for us to know that they feel that way coming in and can share that with others.
Oh, the talks you guys must have at that table.
Oh, indeed.
So many.
Yeah. It's important though, we were laughing Friday night in class, because that presents good energies, right? Higher frequency and everything. And somebody said to me, you just always seem so happy. And I said, what's not to be happy about? Right? I can choose to be sad, or I can choose to be happy. And so I'm choosing to be happy. And really, I look at it and I'm very blessed, throughout all of my incarnations, and especially this one. So what's not to be happy about?
Did they mention, could you talk about when they showed you that big draconian, evil, black mass of horribleness up there? What were they explaining to you about how this planet destructor, and, did they mention anything specific?
Yeah. Well, so what they derived from it, of course, they send people out to, I said, oh, you have spies, right? You don't say words like that, but basically that's what it is. They send people out to collect as much data as they can. And what they determined from it was it is very much a planet-sized weapon. Okay.
Right.
That's how they classified it, as a weapon, that it's large enough to create, destroy an entire planet. And then these ships all come out of this roiling cloud. So this roiling cloud apparently is very part of the planet aspect and part of the weapon itself. There's something in the cloud that is capable of reading atmospheres and whatever data they're collecting. Okay, you can see there's some sort of popping particles that are happening in it as it's moving. The fire itself, I'm not sure what's generating that. I don't know. I don't even remember if they said anything about that, but it's very present. And I'm assuming that has something to do with this large planet weapon itself. But what it was doing, we watched as it destroyed a planet. Some beam came out of this thing and just obliterated this planet into very small particles, and then probably 15 or 20 ships, it looked like, came out, and they just looked like giant vacuum cleaners. They just went through and vacuumed it all up. And then that goes to some processing plant. Now, I don't know if the processing plant is on that planet or where.
Are they after the minerals or something? Are they after
everything? Yeah. And so, because I said, oh my God, that's whole civilizations that are being obliterated. And they said, yeah, they don't care. Okay. So it's interesting to see what this is. And like I said, they're after everything, whatever minerals, whatever's coming out of that, they're just processing all of it. So,
and what about, I have to bring it up. I'm sick and tired of it, actually. I'm pretty much, we talk about it so often, and because there's a lot of people online, and there's so much disinformation about the three-eye atlas. So
yes, three-eye atlas.
It's driving me crazy.
Yep.
Because of all the people out there trying to make money off this thing. The charlatans are out there. They're just the soothsayers. And is there any comments you would like to tell the world?
Yeah, well, so it's interesting because, I was having a conversation with Whitney and Zexua about this. And Whitney, said, well, even if it was a probe, okay, it's only collecting data. And I said, so are you telling me it's a probe? And he said, well, no, what I'm telling you is that even if it was a probe, that's all it's doing. He said, number one, you're concerned that it's so close to the Earth. And he said, it's not at all. And it is just a comet. It's just a very large comet. And what they've looked at is the density of it. It's a very dense comet. And, his response was, I'm surprised somebody's not trying to mine it. Okay, so that says a lot right there. Okay. But, I have shown people over and over again, we took, live data from the Japanese space station because they've taken beautiful pictures of the Earth. Okay. And the amount of debris, satellites around the Earth. I mean, even if the thing wanted to get in here, it couldn't. Right? Because there's so much. Okay. But the thing is what they were doing was tracking the path. Okay. It is way outside of the path of where the Earth is at. We are on the opposite side. Mars was closer than we were. We were on the opposite side of that. So it was really outside the path. There was no veering off of the path whatsoever. It stayed steady. It has a comet trail to it, which, they've used infrared to show that. I mean, there is no concern with this thing. I mean, I had somebody stop me at Walmart and tell me, oh my God, did you hear that they're in conversation with the Department of Defense? I mean, I have to bust out laughing. None of that is true. Okay. These are people that are sensationalizing things. They're making money off of it to do that. We've met Avi Loeb. He's a very nice man. When he wrote the document on, here's a scenario I'm presenting. That's where this came from. Okay. That's all it was a scenario. Okay. The other thing is if I was going to be concerned about something, realize all of those are named usually alphabetically. I would have been more concerned about 3K Atlas because it was actually closer. But did anybody pick up on that? No. Right. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, we have lost our marbles. This is not something to be concerned with. And oh, by the way, they're already here.
I know. It's already, what's going on?
Exactly. Right. So let's be realistic.
We have seen them on our expeditions and have communicated with them. The drones have come and gone and hung out, and it's
you can go to Walmart and you will see extraterrestrials there. Okay, they're here doing their shopping just like the rest of us. Okay, they have to live like us because a lot of them are stuck here. Okay, or else they're here because they're doing some study or whatever the case may be. But they're here. Okay, and there's millions of them.
Millions,
Yes.
millions. You know what?
So,
I joke around because when I take my team to a larger city or a big event or even Walmart, you could say, a great fun thing to do is when you're in a big, massive crowd or at a concert, in telepathy, you could project over that crowd and say, I know who you are. Do not turn around.
Yeah.
And watch how many people turn around.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
it's really a fun game. We us humans are being, jokingly doing it.
Well, we travel a lot. We've been at like LA airport is fabulous for people walking up, groups of people walking up to me. They may not know who I am, but they're drawn to the energy, and they'll come and, ask for blessings or whatever the case may be. But I've been places where an extraterrestrial will come up, right? And it'll be like, is it safe? Because, right. Who can I trust? But no, they're here. I mean, you've been interacting with them, right? If you couldn't tell that it was an extraterrestrial, that should tell you that for all intents and purposes, this is a being that they don't mean us any harm. We do more harm than they do. So
right. No, absolutely. And do you offer? Here's a picture.
Oh yeah. If you want to go through that, I'm happy to go through that. That's the
okay. Sure, absolutely. Let's keep this up. I was gonna ask you something, but let's go ahead and let's look at this. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so the Conclave they came to do a 3-year study in homelessness. They can't understand how we could possibly have homelessness, and what they were worried about is that might be their future. Interesting concept, right? So they wear these interphasers on their belts, and so I had to do drawings because I don't know if it's their interphasers or what it is, but it really causes problems with electronics. So like if I would use my phone to go take a picture, I would just get a white screen. Or my laptop, it drove my laptop absolutely berserk. So I finally decided that if I wanted to make a good, true connection with them, I would just sit down and draw them, and we would have the ability to talk. Okay, and get to know each other. So these were all. The first one was Zendor. He's a very tall being, probably a little over 9 feet tall, very blonde hair. He typically wore it in the long with the fret braids. What I found interesting is he always had a flower in them, and he told me that it was a flower from home, and it reminded him of his partner. So they don't do marriage like we do. They're harmonically bound. But anyway, that was what that was for. But very much, well-spoken. He was the commander of the Conclave. I had him, in his typical uniform. He wears an overdress coat, typically when he's with more than just their group. But the picture next to him then is his disguise for being in the homelessness. But what I found interesting is number one, how did they choose how they were going to look? Okay, because that's an emotional decision. And these are beings that say they have no emotions, right? So he chose, someone that he called River, which is in tune with, his name is Zendor, right? Which meant, the flow and of, whether it's life or water or whatever. So he chose the name River. And so most of the time we saw them in their, homeless disguise, unless they were on the ship or something. And then we would see them in their normal Pleiadian. So he's a Pleiadian. If you go to the next one, it's going to be Ilialia, who she's the liaison officer. These are all scientists. You have to realize that this entire conclave is all scientists. Beautiful. Like I say, she too is very, very tall. They have the most gorgeous turquoise blue colored eyes, very long necks. She's very elegant, extremely intelligent. She chose to be Joy because her name means elated or bliss. So she chose to call herself Joy. Here was Joy, this dirty-faced, blonde, woman. She wore the beanie all the time. Always had a smile on her face. And you look and you go, okay, here's this tall being, and they're in because Joy is only about 5'5", but here's Ilialia 9 foot, right? And so your brain is going, how do they compact that, right? But the interphraser takes them through this morphosis process that allows the DNA to be changed. So anyway, that's her. She was very helpful. She very inquisitive, wanted to know about relationships. And so we had a lot to talk about, especially about when I took her to a wedding, and she thought it was very deceptive. So, we said, yeah, we have a lot of that goes around. So anyway, but you can go on to the next one then. There again, she's Pleiadian too. Now we get into the Orions. So here's what's funny. Between the two of them, one is very much older than the other one. So we're talking about long lifespans, like 1,500 years, right? And Alton would always say, I'm 980 years old. So the kid, meaning he's talking about Reve, he's only 700 years old, right? And I thought it was amusing that, their pecking order, so to speak, was established at their age. But what's fascinating is, so you got to remember, they have, all of this species here are all copper-based blood, so they have more of the bluish, greenish tints. Yep. And yet both the Orions chose black men to represent. And that's fascinating to me. I asked him, I said, why did you choose a black man? And he said, well, according to your literature, right, they suffer more. According to our literature, right? And I was like, wow, what have you been reading? Right? But anyway, this was, Reve chose this one. He called himself Reverend. He was very gregarious, and they were working on learning how to tell a joke. So fascinating, because that's not.
It is. It's so amazing, and this is so true.
Right.
To the listeners, this is so true, and I can concur with Chancellor Whitney here. This is all over the place. We know. I know so many of these types of individuals. Yep. And
when they learn to laugh, they practice laughing, trying to get laughing down. This one is Alton. What's funny is he called himself Bob, and I could never figure out how that fit into what his name was, right? But he called himself Bob. He too chose a black man. He was not a big talker. He only talked if he was put in a position where he had to come up with an answer. Very much when we saw them on the ship or doing their work, everything was telepathic. He would not, verbally say anything. But what I always thought, he always seemed to be looking up at something. And I wasn't sure if he was looking up, it's time to go home, or, just try the place where he could get a better perspective. He just never really answered that. Anyway, you can go on to the next one. Yes. This is Konida. He's Arcturian. He was probably the shortest of the group, and he was still very tall, though. Interesting that he chose this kind of older curmudgeon type look. But what I found interesting is he called himself Cat Stevens. And so I said to him, why did you call yourself Cat Stevens? And he says, have you heard that music? And I said, well, yeah, I grew up with it. And he says, moon shadows. He said, that's the meaning of life. And I thought, okay, clearly we need to go revisit that music, right? But he, of all of them, he very much was trying to look at our emotions and learn to express them. And so of all of them, he learned how to tell a joke. He mastered laughing. He didn't understand our crying. He said, why do you want to leak like that? And I told him, I said, well, it's just our body expressing, and he said, well, there's easier ways to do that. But anyway, I enjoyed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, thoroughly.
It's so true about the tear ducts. I've done a lot of autopsies and a lot of tissue dissection, and many of the races do not have any tear ducts at all.
Right.
They have a special, different type of thing for their eye that lubricates it, but it's not.
And they have that little piece back there, right,
Mm-hmm.
behind their ears that allows them to do that. But I think the funniest thing that ever happened was when I first met him. During their protocol sessions, so that they take these protocol sessions to learn how to deal with humans if they run into them, right? And so one of the things says is a good smile will invite them in, right? And so when I first met him, he did this thing. I'm not sure it was meant to be a smile, but it was kind of off one side and everything. And I kind of looked at him and everything, and he tried to readjust it. And so I don't know if that was good training or not. But certainly I enjoyed him thoroughly. He has a very, very much that unconditional love comes through in everything that he does. The next one is our Andromedans. So, that stern look says everything about them. So this is a pilot and navigator, Zeron and Katane. What's interesting is so remember, I talk about how they were bred together. In other words, they're produced and born at the same time, so that they're matching resonances. So they're very much in tune. We had talks about marrying, and they looked like I had lost my mind. Why would we do something? We have the perfect match. But right, and of course they don't. Their offspring, or there's a different word they use for it, but anyway, are done in pods. So
right.
They look at things differently. But what's interesting is like their hair. It is not dye. It naturally comes out that way. So for Zeron, his hair was gold on one side and then this bright blue on the other. And then Katane's was gold and orange. And that's just natural to whatever's happens during that process. They have tattoos in their skin when they're born that are like clan markers that say, where they came from. They have an AI implant behind their ear so that they're in tune with AI, and they're bred to, take care of the ship, fly it, and what have you. So they have an organic ship with an AI in it that is part of who they are. So interesting. When I first met them, they wouldn't have anything to do with us. Zendor finally had a conversation with them, so then they started interacting a little more after that. But I also realized that, of course, there's no emotion bred into them. So they're all business, and their business is to take care of the Conclave, take care of the ship. So that's a lot of where they came from. But interesting character, very, very tall, very, very athletic, very, very agile. So, okay, we can go to the next one. There's Mwekwa, our Pleiadian, and then Zexua is the gray. So I interact with them on a fairly regular basis. Mwekwa is very diplomatic. He's dealt with humans for a long time, has a very soft mannerism about him. Zexua has a very pushy energy about him. In other words, he's going to communicate with you whether you want to or not. She's had experiences with that where he's knocking on the door
now.
And you're going to listen. But he's an interesting, gray, very much, has been raised up in that diplomatic core type setting. So he makes sure that everything's very formal and what have you. We were laughing one day, Mwekwa and I were laughing one day, and then I just off the wall said, well, he should learn to let his hair down. It was so funny.
Oh my, that is so funny.
Right, because he just didn't know what to do with that, because couldn't I see he had no hair. So yeah, so it's different, learning to deal with them. You can go to the next ones. So this is Nenette, and we met him, during one of our sessions where we were, getting to know more about, each of the civilizations and everything. That's what he does. Is he is an interpreter and sort of presents all sides so that you can see. Drac, he considers himself a tribal warrior. That is not tattoos he's got on. Those are shirts that they wear like that. Those shirts self-adapt, so it's a nano fabric. They self-adapt to whatever environment they're in. He very intense, and he's kind of funny. He's one of those people that he reminds you that he's just looking for a reason to slap you. So not too many people interact with him, but the two of them,
Well, he definitely didn't want to be camouflaged as a homeless person.
Yeah, exactly. He like I say, he's got these piercing eyes. He can hear. The hearing is phenomenal. I mean, my dog doesn't even hear that well, and she hears everything. So there's something, in that makeup that gives them those abilities to do that. But like I say, very intense warrior. Nanette, he very soft spoken. What's interesting is his teeth are pointed. So I had a hard time trying to capture that, but his teeth are very pointed. His ears have a little bit of a point to them. They wear these robes. I mean, he reminded me of a monk with the type of robes that they wear. You can go to the next one. So this is one of our pilots. And then he, we see him frequently. He doesn't talk a lot. Keeps to himself. Very, very tall. He's probably 11 feet tall. Just,
Well, didn't we talked about him on the show, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah. Is that just interesting? He's so intelligent. He's really that soft-spoken, but intelligent being that everybody should get a chance to, be introduced to. The next one is Lyriel. So I think I told the story on one of them. One night I had gone to bed. I have a black screen TV in my room. All of a sudden, this light split in the middle of the screen, and this head pokes through, right? And so, of course, I'm going to pay attention now. And it was a gray, and he was asking permission to come in. And so then he came and told me that they were concerned. He wanted me to look at a hybrid child. Something was wrong with her. And he said, because I was a gold energy, I could see what was wrong with her. And so I agreed. He brought her through. She was dying. There was clearly something very wrong with her. And so then I, energetically looked at her, and I realized that she did not have a spiral helix in her DNA, that something had gone wrong in the way in which they inserted it in there. So then as soon as I said that to him, then he disappeared and leaves her there. And he comes back then with another gray who clearly was more of a medical gray. And he wanted, for me to explain to him what I saw. So then, telepathically, I'm going to download that to him. So then they left.
Right.
Okay. And then, must have been about 3 months later, then they happened to go through the same routine, and he brought her back, and she was, totally better and everything. And he said that her DNA had been fixed, that was what the problem was with a lot of them. But what's interesting is, from about the center point of her ears, there's no hair in there, characteristic of the, DNA. But just their eyes are always bigger. They tend to have little whiter faces. in there, but very loving, sweet personalities. They have powers that most kids don't have. They, just that's the future of the Greys, is to have these hybrid children like that. So, anyway, I was glad.
Wow, that's fascinating. I'm so glad you shared those because we never showed those before. I've never seen all those.
Yeah.
And
I have a lot more. It's just I figured those are the ones you guys, since we've talked about them on other shows.
These are absolutely amazing sketches. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I think it gives a lot of, because there's transmission in those pictures, and I got really activated and teary-eyed over it. Well,
the biggest thing is what they choose. I mean, I'm fascinated by the choices they made. How do we make choices? We make them via our emotions. I like this.
I mean, I was trying to come back as a dog. It didn't work out.
Well,
stop it, Officer Bush. Officer Bush, I can make you laugh.
I'll stop.
I can hear you.
I know.
So let's talk about the controversial thing. No, it's not controversial, but everyone has asked me. We brought it up. So how do they get married? I mean, not married. How do they bond their relationships? Because they looked at the marriage thing. I know it's a sensitive thing, but go ahead and explain this. This union. They have like a special union thing that we've discussed in the past.
Right. Well, that was the Pleiades.
It's like an energetic,
the Tripontu, right. So it happens that coincides with when we have summer solstice. They don't call it summer solstice. They call it the Tripontu. But it coincides during that same cycle. And what it is they may have never met the person that they were harmonically bonded to.
Yeah.
But that's the time when they get to meet them. They go there. It's a beautiful setting, very natural, that because they're into, the sustainable environments, the very natural, healthy environments. So this place is just beautiful. What happens during their Tripontu is that the moons align. And then the sun is on the opposite side, so you can see it casting this glow behind the moons. So they walk this path that's a amethyst path, and they walk it barefoot so that they're in tune with the crystals. And so the two of them will walk down there. It's a long path. There's for lack of a better word, mantras being said as they walk down there. There's, harmonic music being played that is supposed to prepare their resonance for when they reach the end. And then they get to the end, and there's this thing that they do. It's a ceremony to bring all of their ancestral generations together so that can be imparted to them, and they carry on all of that. So you're talking about two entities bringing all of that together. And then that, as they move forward, that becomes part of who they are, and they carry on, traditions, different things like that. But it's very much part of who they are. I got a chance to see that. It's beautiful. You can't help but feel the amount of emotion, even though they say they don't have emotion. You can feel that. I mean, I had just, the energetic goosebumps all over me during that.
Yeah, you guys have to watch the episode. She describes actually the wedding itself in detail about how magnificent the energy and the floral.
We don't do anything like that. We don't do anything like that. We're all about the money. How much money did I spend on that wedding? Right. But this very much has a meaning to it. And so, like I say, Ileala Joy had a lot of questions about that. I took her to a friend's wedding. This friend got married over in Seattle. To the nines, everything that you could possibly have. But the whole time she kept saying, all he's thinking about is his stocks. right? He's worried that something's going to happen with his stocks, right? And the whole time she was going, oh my God, if this isn't right, everybody's just going to have a horrible time, right? And she was like, so why are they getting married? Why are they coming together? Why are they joining if that's the way they feel? And I said, well, they probably don't say that to each other. I said, they're probably saying other things to each other. So it was just interesting for her because of the telepathy. She thought there was a lot of deception in it. And I told her, I said, well, welcome to being human. I said, the one thing we have mastered is deception. Okay, so as long as you go into it knowing that, you'll survive. So.
Right. Well, another fun question I have before we get into the audience's question is, can we talk about the pets that you were exposed to?
Sure.
Was there some pets? Remember we talked about this?
Yeah.
And I think, I get this question a lot. I've done a couple shows on extraterrestrial pets and companions.
Yeah.
I call them more as companions that they respect as a living being, not so much that they're below that. Yeah. Like people are like my dogs are equal to me,
Yeah, they have a different respect for life than we have. So that equates or carries over to literally everything, plants, animals, whatever the case may be. But it's also our animals are part of what has been constructed in our environment, right? So, for instance, dogs coming from wolves or, cats coming from, other cats or whatever the case may be. It's a natural segue for a planet to be able to do that. So likewise, their planets, just through the evolutionary process and, available biological material or whatever the case may be. They too have animals that over time have been domesticated and therefore, they consider that part of their family. They also consider it, there he is.
Hi, sweetie.
Aw.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of looks just like me.
Well, our animals, I have a miniature husky now.
He's really I know you like this is I made him in the lab. He's a dragon, actually. Can you tell? Look at that.
Yeah.
This is B2, named after my fallen dog, Beowulf. He's B2. Aww. And then his sister's over here. Come here, R2. R2.
Oh, that's great.
Come here, R2. We got to show that R2, B2.
Well, they each need equal time.
Yeah, I got to show the puppers.
So this is named after my other fallen dog, Raven. That's R2. So it's R2, B2. Has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
But
Aw.
She's the little. They're brother sister.
Yeah.
They 2 years old, and they're Cane Corsairs.
Yeah,
they're cute.
Yeah, beautiful dogs. Yeah.
The protectors.
Yeah. Well, we just got a miniature husky, and she's proving to us that minding is not her forte. Love her to death. But they, like I say, they have animals there that have just been natural, evolution on their planets, and they've domesticated a lot of them. And so they're familiar with cats. They have something that is very much like a cat. They're not used to all the hair. I had a funny instance where, it's been years since I've had a cat here because we had dogs that were not cat friendly. But we found something under the couch that was covered in cat hair, right? And Ilialia looked at me and she said, well, that's a strange looking cat. And I said, well, no. It's just a ball covered in cat hair. I said,
right.
On the line, it went under the couch and nobody's moved the couch apparently for a while. But anyway, it was just funny because she said, oh yeah, our cats, they can't have hair like that. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, why would that be? Because to me, that's part of the personality of the cat. And she said, oh, it's so unsanitary. I mean, just like that. And I thought, okay, I wouldn't have gone there, but okay. So their cats do not have long hair. And she said, honestly, their cats don't have hair like our cats have hair anyway. It's I don't even know how to describe it. It's some type of nubby little thing that is raised off the skin. So anyway, whatever that means.
That will be the next sketch on the next.
Indeed. But they do have, what's funny is she goes, well, we have dogs. And then she showed me a picture of her dog, and it was, a robotic type dog. And so she said she doesn't need anybody to house sit for him. And I thought, okay, that's a solution. But they do have regular, what we would consider a dog. They don't call it a dog, but what we consider a dog. But they also have this other thing, and I couldn't even begin to say the name.
Let's explain. Yeah, explain this one. Let's see.
So number one, let's go to name for a minute. So you got to realize names are done harmonically.
Right,
Okay,
like Sanskrit. Yeah.
Right. So it would be hard for someone like me who can't make some of those harmonic sounds to say the name. So anyway, but so that it's small. I would say probably no more than 10 inches in size. It has 2 legs. It has 2 arms. So we would start thinking, okay, in the category of a monkey, maybe, right? It's got 2 little ears on it, has these huge bulbous eyes, very small little 2 holes for a nose, has a, just a slit for a mouth, and hairless. And like I say, when I saw a picture of it, my mind went to a monkey, but that's not what it is. And she was telling me that it has the capability to morph its limbs, and it can attach itself to surfaces, just a different type of, species. But that's one of their main pets, is to have those. And she said it's very good with children. It's very helpful around the house. It understands. So anyway, yeah, I don't know.
Fascinating. I love it. Yeah, I've witnessed some of these neck ones that look like giant cables that walk. They're that are kind of, some are scaly, some are smooth, but they actually open up and morph into animals.
So the Orions have a lot of that, especially in their trade center, something like that. And you would have to go to the trade center to get something similar to that.
My gosh, the trade center. It's like the cosmic market. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know. I
love it. But it's another show. That's a whole, we got to talk about that sometime.
Way more sketches.
That part. I actually named, like on my website, emerysmith.co, I have the cosmic market, and that's where I kind of sell my goods. But I got the idea from, seeing that, and actually them talking about this amazing market. Yeah. And then you were there at the market. So when I interviewed you and you explained it, I was just reliving that whole experience.
I could spend my entire life there, because I would never see the end of it. I mean, that's how big it is. They have 5 of those. Yeah,
it's the Galleria Cosmic Market of the world. Yeah. This thing, what she's explaining, is an endless planet of cosmic flea markets, I'll say. Yeah.
Well, and the amount of other beings that go through it. I mean, they were telling me they see 8 million people a day from all over the cosmos. I mean, you want to really get to know species, that's the place to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting all excited. There's someone online who made an AI video, and they post one a week. And it's some funny thing where it's all these extraterrestrials, and he's got a camera. He walks up to the extraterrestrial, like in downtown New York or in Chinatown, New York. And he's like, "What do you sell?" And then the ET's like morphs into something or opens up his jacket, and all these dingleberries come out. It's just so funny. And I think it's on Instagram or Facebook. I'll have to post it. I usually don't repost things like that, but it really made me think of the market, of the cosmic market kind of thing. And Cameron, thanks for showing my page, the cosmic market, where you can get your nano emerald green, which I'm going to be sending over to Chancellor Whitney and
Looking forward to it.
Officer Bush. And so I was able to get calentrazines from jellyfish.
Oh, cool.
And it brings light into the DNA crystalline structure and into the cells. And it has a lot of colloidal orbitally rearranged monatomic elements in there. And it really helps with blocking 5G, 6G electromagnetic fields from the cell being mutated.
Right.
And
you at a quick rate.
What was that?
It probably transfers at a really quick rate.
Well, it's so immediate because it's nanoparticleized. You know, one of my secrets and what I'm known for is I have a 0.2 parts per million zinc molecule in there. And zinc is great for you. It's just, you know, there's so many benefits to zinc. It's just the body does not digest that, that at all. And it's really hard to get into your system. But we made it so small that it gets right in and it doesn't build up. You know, a lot of my solutions like the nano emerald green and the nano blue here, aquafaring nano blue, help decalcify the pineal gland. And it's great for meditation, and it's just great for overall health because it's a fourth state plasma water because we added an extra hydrogen electron. So it forms covalent bonds with these minerals to get into the cells that you're born with, but you don't get any of that in our diet, you know. Unless you're drinking tens of thousands of gallons of ocean water, which, you know, we're not capable of doing that yet. But so thank you guys for like doing all this and putting up with me. We have to get to these amazing questions. There's so many starred questions here. One I'm going to start with is my really great friend Lynn Strichter had a question and said, what happens to the souls of the civilization when their planet is obliterated? And it's a great question, Lynn, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I know Cameron's going to put Lynn Strichter's question up there. Yeah. So you know, because you know that's another whole subject that we didn't get into. And you know, I was going to bring up death because you have this great. I love the way you orchestrate the description of that. So if you could elaborate that.
Sure. Well, remember, everything's energy, right? Including our energetic soul. And so having said that, when the vehicle, because that's all this is a vessel or a vehicle that we're using to carry that energy around in, when something happens to it, in this case, if we're talking about, you know, this roiling planet, so I'm pretty sure that gets obliterated. But that, you know, spiritual or energetic soul isn't going to get obliterated because it's at a frequency above and outside of that at that point, because now it becomes interdimensional. But it's going to go back. Now we're talking ascension. Okay, so we get that ability to send that energy back to the collective, so to speak. It's still an energy that's created with its own you know, marker, in other words, its own original energy that makes it up who it is. So then it can present itself in a number of different ways. It can either present itself, you know, as a crystalline body or as we see a lot of orbs. That's all that is that it's chosen to, you know, present itself as a light. It can go back to the collective and then decide that it wants to reincarnate it as another experience. So it would choose a vessel. You know, as I tell people, we just did a class 2 weeks ago on lives. How many lives have you had, right? And people are surprised because they'll start off and they'll go, 4 or 5, you know, and I was like, oh boy, are you not aware of what's happening here, right? Because we're talking, these are energies that have been around forever. Okay. So, you know, you're not just sitting up there saying, I'm cruising the cosmos. Okay. You want to go have experiences. You want to be able to learn from those experiences. So, I mean, this is really the whole purpose of energy, is that it grows. right, becomes more intelligent. And so it's going to go have experiences. So a lot of people will choose to go have it, become a Pleiadian, become an Orion, become a whatever, right, to get those experiences. So millions of lives have occurred, right? That's why I tell people, I laugh when people go, I got to go to have somebody read my Akashic record. No, you don't. That if it exists in you, you know everything. The purpose of energy is to know everything. Okay. So your record resides in your energy. All you got to do is say, hey, I want to know who I am. Right. It's that simple. We want to make it complicated, or we want to make it worth money. That's what it comes down to. I tell people all the time, did you pay for the energy? Because I'm pretty sure it's free, right? So if people are charging you buku bucks for energy, there's something wrong with that. Okay. Yes, I believe that if people are trying to effectively help somebody, such as healing or providing products to help, there's an amount of labor and material that goes into that is something that you charge for. Okay, but I met this woman. She sets up a booth and she charges people $1,000 for healing. And I'm sorry, but that's karmic debt. Yeah, that's karmic debt you're earning, because that is wrong on so many levels. But here's what happens is that, like I say, it's just an energy, so it gets to choose what it wants to do, because there's a universal law of free will that says that you make a choice of where that energy goes. Now, there's also, though, karmic debt. If you intentionally did something to an energy and you're not the least bit regretting your part that you played in that, then you get to experience that. Okay, so that you learn from it and know what that truly feels like. Okay, so there's a lot of that happens, but I mean, it's really a fascinating thing to watch, and that's why we see these people that come back and we have that familiarization with them, is because we know that energy. We've seen it before, we've lived with it before, so it's really fascinating stuff.
Love it, love it. Okay, the next one I want to bring up is okay. Go ahead. You can go down. Cameron, go ahead. You can just start at the top and go down. That's fine. Oh, hey, random question. Anyone know what species is the Pringles 10 type looking ship with the round and opening like a ramp? Also, who are the ones in a dark brown rock, no visible windows or lights?
Oh, well, we're talking ships.
I think we're talking. Yeah, I saw Pringles in the same as Pringle chips. Is someone pulling a fast one here? Well, I mean, a lot of the. I mean, I can illuminate a little bit. Like some of these dark brown lumpy rock ships are organic ships that look like asteroids. They look like, most of the ships do look like, and a lot of their I'll just say a lot of their equipment and things that we find, the ships are very organic looking. So they could look like a redwood tree or a piece of a redwood tree or a rock, so it could be many different species on that one.
And they have, a lot of times that's a covering because, they have these force fields that are part of the system. They can't be internal to the ship. They have to be external to the ship. And so that covering is put over there so that the entire thing spreads out evenly rather than just pinpoints of where that is. Because it's, anything that's more solid is going to do a better job than something that has voids in it. So that we've seen a lot of those ships where that is a covering that gets put over that, and a lot of times it is organic in nature. So
Nikita says, okay, go ahead. What's this? Kim says, do Mukumawa and Zexua know each other?
Yeah, they know each other very well because they both work for the Federation and they both work for the same diplomatic service corps. So Mukumawa brought Zexua in because he felt like if for some reason he has to be gone or we need to expand what's happening, this integrates him into it. He becomes oriented to how we're doing things. And so he brought him in. They know each other very well. It was Mukwa's idea to bring him in. And like I say, this isn't something where they have a lot of grays that are represented in the Protocol Service Corps. So, he felt like this was really a boon to them to be able to introduce a gray in this capacity to humans. So, yeah, but they know each other very well.
Thank you for answering that. I've seen a half moon manta ray. This is from Nikita. Hey, Nikita. I've seen a half moon manta ray shaped craft in South Brooklyn. I'm curious whose craft that may be.
Yeah, so the size and shape of crafts generally tells you which civilizations are doing those. We see a lot of the crescent shaped ones are the Targetan type species. And which is interesting because they're moon worshippers. So it would stand to reason that their craft would be, reflected like that. But that's who we generally see doing those, are the Targetans.
Now, for the record, who are the masters of building spaceships in the universe?
Right. So the master builders are the Andromedans.
The masters are the Andromedans. They make the best,
know that. Right.
The best Lamborghini craft in the world.
Yeah.
And it's really odd because say again.
Yeah. They do supply them to a lot of other civilizations.
Right. So they don't take sides. They actually make craft for each warring conflict species. So I think that's kind of funny. It reminds me of the Rockefellers selling gas to the Germans and the Americans during the war.
Exactly. They're not selective of who they support. And we got to remember, it's a credit system, right? It's not a monetary system. It's a credit system. So they accept credits from all over, everywhere. Here's a fascinating thing that they are trying to get us to understand. All right. So we've all heard there's trafficking out in the cosmos, right? And humans are horrified that we would do that. But the thing is that really, that's because that's our belief system. If you have a civilization with a different belief system, right, they're not going to see it the same way. And that's the thing that they've been trying to tell us, is that we should stop judging until we understand. Okay. And that's very much where we need to be, is that we don't know everything. Right. I'm not saying that I would agree with doing something like that, but I'm saying that I don't understand enough of what's going on that I should be judging them. What I'm saying is that we need to have a lot more info than jumping out there and making a judgment and trying to make matters worse. Okay. I don't know everything about why they do it. Was there something? Let's put it this way. Let's say our species is dying. Okay. What would we do to survive? We would probably do things that before we would have considered deplorable or abhorring. But our survival drives us to do that. So like I say, that's the one thing that they've tried to get us to see, is that we should not be passing judgment on something we don't understand.
Right. Jude, hey Jude, how are you? I'm from Huron. What group is that, if you know?
Okay, so lots. So remember, a lot of places are way stations now. In other words, they have species coming and going all the time. So there's very few places that we would look at it and go that it's just a specific entity now, especially if it's a way station. Earth was a way station. That's why there's so many of them here that are mixed species, because this was a way station. Okay. So you come from a way station area that is going to have a lot of different species. It just comes down to who decides to take ownership of something. And then once they take ownership, then they try to become the dominant species of that. But I'm going to say that there isn't any one group.
Okay. Our emotions contribute to us being barbaric. Need to adjust this in our DNA? Question.
Well, so we're born with emotions. We don't have any control over that, right? Now, there are people that have a syndrome where they're emotionless, right? But really, and that is a DNA thing. But the thing is that we have emotions as part of who we are. It's what we do with those emotions, right? Like I was having a conversation with Mukmar once, and he said, why do some people just cry for no reason at all? And other people don't cry and they have every reason. Because that was hard for him to understand, right? And I told him, I said, well, we have these hormones that a lot of times drive the biological being to do things that, don't make sense.
I am using both of those excuses on my wife today, then.
Right.
Now you made it so clear to me.
I'm just saying, that's that understanding that we have to come to, right? And then to be able to talk to them about it, and so they're getting it. Like I say, they're learning about us. We're learning about them, right? That's like I say, they say they have no emotions. I am telling you, they have more emotions than they know. Okay. They're just not recognizing it as being an emotion. For instance, at one point they had what we would call a disagreement. They don't call it a disagreement. They call it a point of view. Okay. But
I like that. I have a point of view.
So, here's all this telepathy flying around in this very small space over this difference of point of view. Right. And I was sitting there and I started laughing. I find it hilarious. Right. And they all just turned around and looked at me at the same time. And I said, you guys have a lot of emotion that you need to deal with. Right. And they were just stunned. Right. And that just kind of stopped the whole thing and they all exited the room. Right. And I was like,
how dare you say that to us?
Well, but there's another emotion, right? So I just proved the point, but it was just hilarious because they say we got rid of emotion because it's self-serving. Well, they're absolutely right. It is. But the thing is that there's a lot of times where we can't not have emotion present to help us make good decisions. So anyway, it was just an interesting.
I love it. So, they stomped away. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm done. I'm not talking to you guys anymore.
Hi, Tammy Clark. How are you today? How do we save someone from the Draconians? Well.
Ooh, save.
Wow, that's a loaded question there.
Indeed. Here's what I'm going to say. Become a higher frequency because they can't deal with high frequencies. Okay. Yeah. Higher frequencies always override a lower, denser frequency. Okay. So that's number one. They avoid me like the plague. Okay. Because of the high frequency. So what I'm going to say is get a higher frequency and therefore you can pretty much bet that they're going to leave you alone. Now, that's not to say the white Dracs, that's what they've been bred for, is higher frequencies to, torture with. But still, you can pretty much, they also don't like to be confronted. So, just turn around and confront them. Be that higher frequency that you are.
Kim Aston, why did they abduct him?
Okay, so Mutwa is in a position where he, is dealing not only with the Federation civilizations, but now he's, trying to deal with humans being in the greater cosmic community. So they want what he knows. And so he was abducted and tortured for a couple of months for what he knows. Here's the thing. He would have given them anything that they wanted. They're non-interventionists. They would have just gone and said, I'll tell you what I know. Right. So it's like I just couldn't fathom that the Federation wouldn't go in there and help this being who, for every intensive purpose that he exists, is unconditional love and service to others, right? That you wouldn't go in and rescue him. So, like I said, I had a problem with that. And being the cosmic warrior, if I have a problem with something, I'm going to take care of it. So anyway, we were successful in, saving him. And then, like I say, the aftermath is that he had to deal with everything that had happened. So we've worked on a path to get him in a better space. So
understandable.
Yeah.
Kim Aston, have Victoria ET's friends felt it necessary to tell of any notable upcoming events. And is she allowed to elaborate? No, she cannot say anything. She's under a cosmic non-disclosure agreement. That's why she's here. She's not allowed to say anything, Kim.
Yeah,
Under the Omicron Federation, we're not allowed to say no.
Yeah.
No, that's on you.
I'm pretty sure they made me chancellor because I have a big mouth and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah, and it doesn't bother me. I've had people tell me, don't say anything, and I'm like, you don't get to tell me what to do. Welcome to being human. But what I'm going to say is that, the biggest event, of course, is, what's happening with the serpents and the draconians.
Yeah.
We need to always have that at the forefront because there's not enough of what we understand is happening there. Okay. The Federation has very real concerns about it. Most of the cosmic community has very real concerns about it. There are whole constellations that have been totally wiped out because of this, right? So if you were next to a constellation and you just all of a sudden saw this one over here disappear, right? You would start having concerns. Is that going to be us, right? So that's something that is very real and right in their faces right now. And it is a matter of, do we have the right information? Are we going to be able to make the right decisions? Do we know enough about what's happening? Right. And I can honestly say, I don't think we will ever have all of the information. But I think that the path that we're on is giving us enough information that moving forward, deterrence, of course, is at the number one forefront of this. So that's the tack that we're going to take is how do we deter this from moving forward and becoming a problem for the Earth. Excellent.
Tammy Clark, how can we open up more of our powers for all these changes that are coming?
Well, okay, so let's go back. Everything's energy. So what do you want to open up? Okay, that's up to you. You get to decide that. You have, the universal law of free will. That's why I teach people the processes of energy, the language of energy. Okay, energy is just a code. Okay, and it's learning, the code and what you want to do with it. It's my favorite thing is I love to stop the traffic lights. I don't want to be hung up at a traffic light, so I will go and change all the traffic lights. Right, everybody's always laughing about that. Or I don't want to be on a long trip, so I shorten it, so it's a short trip. But the thing is it's just energy. Okay. And when you understand that it's just energy and energy is going to do whatever another energy influences it to do. Okay. So you have to learn, about the energy, how it works. Okay. It has very definite processes, and then learn the, language of energy, and you can make it do anything that you want it to do.
Stuff on our site.
It's all on our site. We don't keep any of that from you.
Come to class.
Here's what I'm going to say. You were born with those, what we call, psychic capabilities, right? Yeah. They're yours to use. It's just you have to figure out whether you want to use them or not. Okay, so go for it.
Okay. Eric Knapp, when Pentecostals scream out loud for Jesus, is Jesus the password for ET intervention? Oh, Eric, listen, Eric is one of my really great colleagues and customers and friends, and I think he's just being funny here, so we're not going to get into the religious stuff, Eric, but it's kind of funny that you said.
Here's what I tell people. You are free to, it's your belief system, you're free to believe whatever you wish to believe. Okay, remember, everything's an energy. So even your Jesus is an energy. Okay, so you're free to believe whatever you want. It is not my job to make you believe anything. My job is to ensure that we get into the greater cosmic communities and that the Earth survives. That's what my job is. My job isn't to make you believe any specific way. Okay, so believe how you wish to believe, because you're the one that lives with it, not me.
I love it.
I have my own beliefs.
Yep. That's right. Kim Aston, in their homeless Earth life, are they aware of the ET origin or an amnesia?
Oh no, they're fully aware of who they are. This is a little interphaser. They wear it on their belts. It does DNA metamorphosis, but they still have, all their intelligence and everything has just been compacted into a new package. But everything remains the same. So none of that changes. They know what they're there for. Like I say, they were all scientists. So they were doing, all types of different scientific experiments while in that state. So
is suffering just an Earth thing?
No, it's not just an Earth thing. There's a lot of it going on out in the cosmos. Okay. Here's the funny thing. I tell these guys all the time. We think we have mundane offices. They have mundane offices. Okay. Everything, as above, so below. It is the same everywhere. Okay. It just depends on the degree to which it is. And really, we talk about suffering here. We don't know real suffering. There is worse suffering out in the cosmos that most people don't hear about. And it's because it's so deplorable that as human species, we would have a hard time understanding it. But the thing is that suffering, here's the thing. If you didn't suffer, you wouldn't learn anything. Okay. If you always had everything good, right, you would never learn the things that give you the strength. So suffering is part of the process. There's a universal law of catastrophe that says you need to suffer in order to truly learn. Okay. So yes, suffering is just part of that process. It's what are you going to take away from it? And what I'm going to say to you is take something positive at a higher frequency. Okay. That will serve you far better.
Sarah Rooks, do they live on Earth the same length of the average human? And do they choose how they leave Earth?
Okay, so most of the species from the greater cosmic communities live very long lives. I mean, it's not uncommon for it to be 1,500 years, okay, or more, okay. Anunnaki, they're actually in that upward realm of 3,600 years, okay. So they live long lives, all right. And honestly, if we didn't have so much environmental impact here and the things we do to ourselves, we would live longer lives. Okay. It's just an energy. And you say, how do they choose to leave Earth? It depends on what they're here for. So like the Conclave was given 3 years. So when that end of that 3 years came, they left. Okay. They're going to follow orders. All right. There's a lot of species here that are sent here for many, many different things. Okay. And it depends on the length of the study that they're doing. Some of them, there's a lot of couriers that go back and forth here. So, within 24 hours, they're gone. And it depends on, did they come in a ship? Did they come via, a portal? There's a transmission that occurs that is, a remote type of transmission. So lots of different ways to do that, or whether they come here and it's just in a mind state. So they will enter a mind, deliver whatever, download whatever, and then they exit. So, it just depends on what they're here for.
Thank you. What can we find at these galactic flea markets? Let me tell you, everything and anything.
Indeed.
And things that will just question your existence.
Okay, here's the thing. If you can imagine it, it's there. And even if you can't imagine it, it's there.
It's there. Yeah.
So, yeah, anything and everything. I mean, it's the most fascinating place I have ever been to in my entire life. I mean, I could have spent the rest of my life there and not seen everything still. Or, I mean, there's entertainment that's going on. There's art like you can't even imagine.
And there's crystals from all around the universe.
From all over the universe. There's, whole companies that do enactments of other civilizations or things that they've gone through. That's a pretty piece.
Wow.
I mean, you name it, it is there. It's a living thing. And when you step in there, you're part of that living thing. Those are gorgeous.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Thank you. You can get these on my emerysmith.co Cosmic Market.
Ah, awesome.
This is an Andara crystal from when the lightning hit White Sands, and they took it and then they just polished the top of it. So because it kind of looks kind of
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Lots of cool things there for crystal stuff.
Yeah.
And it is the crystals are half off right now for the Cyber Monday, and all the solutions are BOGO, like buy one get one half off.
Awesome.
There you go. There's all the cool, amazing crystals.
Nice.
And I'm big on crystals. I love crystals.
Should be. Everybody should be.
And it's just my whole house is covered in them.
Yeah.
I have walls made out of crystals for the healing. There's the promo code STAR50. Look at this, half off.
Yeah.
I don't know how Cameron convinced me of this, but I guess it's for the betterment of the universe.
There you go.
Right.
And check it out, guys. We have so many new solutions to meet your needs and to elevate you to a whole nother dimension, which I'll talk to you. I'm definitely going to talk to you, Victoria, about some of these things off camera, and send you some of these amazing solutions and explain it to you, because you are so humble. You are an amazing cosmic healer, and I had experienced that with you, and and I agree with you with what's out there. People that are claiming to touch you and do things that you're automatically $2,500 and here you go. And it's kind of weird. Do you do long distance
healings?
Yeah, you do stuff like that, right? Yeah.
I just did one this morning for someone.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys, I think when you contact Victoria and her organization, there's ways. We don't have credits, but we do. We're trying to keep them going with donations and support through their teachings. And please, look out for their best interest. I know one of the questions here, Jennifer Tuck is asking, is who or what community should we set our intention to connect with out in the cosmos to help the Earth? And that's you guys, in addition to whatever you'd like to add to that.
Right. Well, so here's the thing is that the greater cosmic community is actively trying to make contact with humans. So having said that, they're really reaching out. It's whether you're willing to accept that or not. Okay. Because they, like I say, they have to know that you're giving your free will to be in contact with them. So, when you get that connection or something, I tell people just say accept and acknowledge, and then they will continue to reach out to you and try to convey to you, the messages they're trying to deliver, and to set up that connection so that they can work you into, the greater cosmic communities. We're not the only way. Okay, we're the way in which is the future because of the seed of the universe, because they're trying to make a huge cosmic change. Okay, but what I'm going to say to you is if you don't do anything else, wake up. Whatever you do, get a higher frequency. Okay, because the way things are going, the energies are getting denser and denser, and that's happening for a reason. It is the cycle that we're in. We're going to be doing this split, an energetic split. Okay, and the denser energies will go one way, the higher energies will go another way. Okay, that's part of the process. All right, and we're just going to be the witness to it this time. The other civilizations have had witness to it. It just happens to be our turn. Okay. And so what I'm going to say is that if you don't do anything else, wake up and get a higher frequency. Okay. You don't have to do it by us. I'm happy. We offer teachings. It doesn't cost you anything. Go on our site. You can take the materials off. You can read them. I do lots of videos. I have a new stack of videos to put up there that are all teachings. They're yours. You do with them what you want. Okay. What I'm going to say is that you have to decide that you're going to wake up and become a higher, more enlightened being. That is the criteria. Okay.
Wow. Thank you. Victoria and Leslie. This has been mind-blowing information, and it's always so much fun to do interviews with you. I love it. Hopefully, you'll accept our next invitation. I think there's so much other things to have fun, and if you enjoyed this, let's do it again. And if you guys would like to see more of Victoria, let me know. You can email me at cosmicmarket3@gmail.com. We're definitely going to have her back and go into some other deeper conversations now that we broke the ice with you little ones out there. And it's really funny because when we first met, I didn't know too much, about Victoria and Leslie and the team there. And it's really like the goal of all, really conscious people. It's the same wavelength of energy of love and light, and to educate ourselves more about the universe. And that's what I love about her message is, not only being an experiencer, but actually being someone who steps up to the plate and just tells you how it is. And there's only a few people like that in the world. And, I love people like that. And so thank you so much, Victoria and Leslie, for coming on and going through this. And I want to thank Commander Salamander Cameron Clapp. Thanks for hosting us here on the Cosmic Television Network.
Good job. You did great.
And there he is.
Maybe.
He's dematerialized for the moment.
Yeah. He's in another dimension. It's fine.
And thank all the listeners. And we really appreciate your support out here. And we really want you guys to keep moving forward with this type of education. And we gave you all the information how to contact Victoria. And you can do that through her website. Of course, you know how to get me, emerysmith.co, cosmicmarket3@gmail.com. You can also, if you're interested in getting a scan, that would be through emerystarscan@gmail.com. You can look at that on page 2 of Cosmic Market, where we do scan the body, 3 million different frequencies. We do it nonlinear system scans. And it's really a great baseline for your health, your physical and astral health, to see what's going on in there. So please check that out. Email us if you have any questions about that. I don't really get into too much of the explanation of that stuff, but you can look in the description online. And you can always, like I said, reach out to us and contact us. Now, we do have more webinars and things coming up. And like I said, you can find us on Gaia TV with the ambassador link provided below. And like I said, once again, I want to thank you guys. And we'll be talking, of course, soon. And I need an address, so text me a mailing address so I can send you some of these fun things.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
We enjoyed
Well, thanks, guys. And we will talk to you soon. I'm Emery Smith. This is the Cosmic Television Network. Until next time.